All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for jumping on to watch this. We wanted to get this together to share a little bit about ourselves. Myself and Chris have gotten to know each other really well over the last, I'd say, good month and a half. And we're just excited to kind of share what we've learned, what we've grown to understand, and our own plights along the way. My name's Tim. I'm with Momentum Mindset Fitness. Chris, you want to introduce yourself?
Chris, also known as the Supermorbidbeast. I know a very intriguing name in it.
So, why don't you tell me a little bit about where that name Supermorbidbeast came from?
Okay, I mean, so it's kind of a pun on the morbidly obese, and then I added the super part because I don't know, I thought it was pretty fitting. You might have heard of this guy called Obese to Beast, and I
Oh,
thought
yes.
pretty funny, right? So I like those. I kind of like that one. So it just kind of hit me. I was like, I should use that.
Well, it works. It works well. I think you do a really good job of kind of picking apart the mindset that being extremely heavy is healthy. It's great for everyone to be
Yeah,
comfortable in your own skin, and I applaud that. But at
yeah.
the end of the
Just
day,
big difference between comfortable and delusional.
yeah, yeah, I think I appreciate that. You're kind of really able to express who you are. You're owning it, and you're sharing your journey, which is not easy. I mean, I certainly haven't had as quite the journey myself. I've lost a good amount of weight. My name's
Don't
Momentum.
put yourself down. Your journey's still awesome.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, man. And for me, it was really came down again. The name Momentum Mindset. It came down to just that, the mindset, right? Because so many times I would start to exercise and stop, or get in a
Yeah,
rhythm and quit, or get really motivated and then feel like, well, I don't need to today. And it really took retraining my mind first over my body to even start
absolutely.
to get there.
Yeah, I definitely agree that the whole mindset part is so important because you can start exercising, you can start eating healthy, but if you don't get to the root of what caused you to do such things in the first place, you're just gonna return to base zero and you're gonna start over. And I mean that's normal. So beginning over and over again, that's normal. But we learn something new each time, and once you really get into the mindset of it, I think that's when it starts. Working out for real.
Figuratively and literally working out.
Literally working out.
But yeah, I mean, we've talked about this a bunch, but and as cliche as
Yeah.
it is, the consistency aspect of it all is so important.
Yeah.
Making
Yeah.
yourself get into a habit. I know last night I stayed up way too late, and sleep is so underrated. Yeah, no doubt, right? But today, as I was going to bed last night, I literally had the thought process of tomorrow you probably should take a day off.
Mm.
You prioritize rest. And then today, when it came time, I work out my lunch break. That's the allotted time I've given myself that I've worked into my
Yeah.
habits. When it came around, I found myself getting my gear on and just going anyways. And I think once you ingrain it so much, you force yourself to go that you get in such a routine that even when your mind is trying to make you deteriorate, your body's in such a rhythm that even that's
Yeah. I
forcing you
mean,
to go.
your body and mind becomes disciplined. You get out of the bad habits and you instill that bit discipline in yourself that you will just do it regardless of how you feel. And I
That's
think
exactly
that's
right.
the really important takeaway.
Definitely. I have a couple notes. We would banter all night if we let ourselves, right? Anyone that's
Absolutely.
watching, I apologize. We may end up doing that, but I'm going to keep bouncing back to these because it's a lot of stuff that I
Yeah,
really
yeah,
want to
yeah.
get into and questions that I have specifically for you. Um, but can you
Yeah.
share a little bit about your weight loss journey? Maybe like where you've started. I know clearly you still have progress to make and goals that you've set,
It's still a long way to go.
but what got you going in the first place? And where did you start? What took what took you to where you are at this point in time?
So I think the answer that people expect from something like that is definitive wake up call. You're like, it's this or that, or you experience this or that, but it wasn't really one particular moment. So that means I can't even identify a specific start date at that point. Because I've started weight loss journeys way before I ended up over 400 pounds, right? So I think uh 300 was a wake up call. 240 was also back at that time, and every time it's a higher point, and you say, okay, it's never going to get worse than that, right? It can't possibly. Yeah, I'll start tomorrow, or you know what, it's fine. You fucked up once, you'll make it, or you end up just like becoming so desensitized to it that you just in the end you just don't care. And then well, at one point I don't even think it was my heaviest. My heaviest recorded weight is 407 pounds, which was in late August 22. Uh, and I'm certain that my heaviest weight has probably been closer to 420, but I wouldn't have that recorded. So it's like you think there's a specific wake up call, a specific date, something like that, but there really isn't. And that's something people also need to like identify. And I have certainly, after starting my journey, also backtrack a little here and there. There was a 5 month period where I just didn't really get to work out and stuff. And then I'd say mid-June this year, it really kicked into a new gear. That's when things started being like really serious again.
Right.
Um,
It's almost like
and
when you
it wasn't
identify a
necessarily,
backslide. I'm sorry. It's like,
yeah,
at least from what I've seen,
no, no,
because I've experienced this too. Like when you identify a backslide like that and you become, kind of a victim of falling back into old habits, it's really important
yeah,
to like, okay, not only, at least when you do get back on track, to go, okay, you can have a bad day. You can mess up.
absolutely.
The key is to not have a second bad day.
Because then there'll be a third and a fourth because you've already done it twice. Who cares now, right?
Exactly.
But I do also think like that identifying that's a thing that in the past I've not been able to do. So it's a change in mindset. I should also put it right. The mindset is the important part, which is why even and I'm not. I don't want to jinx it. It's not that I think I will have a case of like a backsliding again. But if it were to, I would be able to identify and I'll be able to work with it very quickly now, uh, as opposed to back then. So
Right.
it's really
Falling
you
into
learn things.
it and letting it
Yeah, yeah,
overtake you, where you can identify and go, oh, I'm doing it. I need to jump back
yeah, yeah,
on.
yeah. It's like, okay, perhaps like ordering a pizza isn't really a good thing. I mean, it's like, and well, that's a very specific example again, but it's not, and we'll probably get into some diet questions at some point. It's not that I think any food is inherently bad, but when you get smart about it, you understand that it's just numbers.
Consistent decision making, right? It goes back to,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
again, you want pizza, you have it. The key is to not go, well, I had pizza last night. It's the weekend, so this morning I'll have a burrito, and I'm going to ride the weekend out since I like that. I'll have ice cream tonight. You kind of,
Yeah,
how I've at least looked at it, and what's helped a lot is consistently trying to make the good decision, even when I
yeah,
could let myself or reward myself, not only to build a habit, but you're going to inevitably come across a time where, for example, I was just traveling quite a bit for work, and I'm
yeah,
in a hotel for 10 days, and you're bouncing around doing different things, and at some point, it wasn't there. The decision wasn't there. It's this option or this option, and you can choose not to
yeah.
eat, but again, that's also not always the right decision. Sometimes it is.
No, I agree.
Um,
Yeah,
but I'd
yeah,
rather save those times for when that situation rears its ugly head. Or, you're
yeah,
out
yeah,
celebrating, God knows what. But on the
yeah,
day to day, it's just so, you get bombarded so often, whether
yeah.
it's
You
work,
get
friends.
all the small choices. Oh,
Exactly.
would you like a drink? Would you like a slice of pizza? Something, right? Like you can be offered stuff, and I mean, I think the important part is just if you can say no sometimes or majority of the times, then you're still ahead.
Exactly. If you put a higher percentage of your decisions towards, and if not eating healthy, at least keeping a relative idea on your caloric intake versus
Yeah, yeah,
output. And that doesn't mean some people, they get down to weighing out their food, right? And their,
yeah, yeah. I've heard friends
numbers.
really, really do that.
Yeah,
And I mean, it's a good idea to do for some people, at least until you have a good idea and you can gauge food. If I look at something now, I can
Eyeball it.
realistically, like, yeah, I can eyeball it. So, yeah, and the thing is, again, people also often forget that it's not the day to day. It's more like week to week or month to month. That if your caloric deficit is there, then you will lose weight. But if it's like, oh, you had 500 calories plus yesterday, well, you're fucked for good now. You already
Yeah.
gained 50 pounds, bro. Well, but no, it really isn't like day to day like that. So that's why the whole like micromanaging every single calorie, it gets too much for most people, and that it demotivates them to a point where it really just fucks with your mind.
Exactly. Yeah, if you just keep a general outlook, and as you said, on a week basic, my
Yeah.
caloric weekly intake, what am I burning? And
Yeah.
prioritize protein. You're just eating protein alone,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
going to burn more calories digesting it than your
True.
fats and carbs. And
And
again,
you're gonna get gains.
yeah, yeah, I think that we're already diving into diet a little earlier than anticipated, but it doesn't matter. It's where we're at. I think there, when it comes to diet, that word in and of itself can be such
It has bad connotations.
very much so, right? Because there's so many different trends and things, and
Yeah.
from keto to carnivore. I mean, I've tried quite a few, and
So
and some work. I mean, keto is great for managing inflammation, but also it's so easy to eat like
yeah.
crap on. At the end of the day, if you just
Oh,
cut out
absolutely.
complex carbs, carbs are good. You need them. You need your glycogen stores to be restored, right?
Sure.
But
Sure.
if you just avoid overly doing the breads and pastas, then you can have all the other necessary carbs you want,
Yeah.
right? It's the sugar and
Absolutely.
refined carbs. Cut those
Yeah.
out as
Yeah.
much as you
Yeah.
can. Prioritize protein. That's it.
Yeah, it's really all you got to do. And I think also the reason why diet has like such bad connotation is because people like, I think there are two meanings to the word diet, right? You have your diet, which is you eat something specific or go on a caloric deficit to lose weight. That's, for an example, a diet, or more to gain weight, right? But and then you have what you eat. Your diet is what you eat. That's
Right.
pretty much the definition of the word, right? So, I mean, what it should be is one that gives you what your body needs, whether that's a certain amount of calories, enough protein, etc. That's the only thing that matters, is that you can stay consistent with it. Otherwise, it's just not gonna work out. Like, a diet is not a temporary thing; it's a life thing, as we talked about.
Very much. It's a lifestyle. And until I figured that out, it was such a flex, right? Oh, this is really working for me, but then I'd fall off because I can't have this, that, or the other thing. The most
Yeah, yeah,
consistent lifestyle I've found is just a general caloric count. And then I intermittent fast to a degree. Some people take that to an extreme, where they do OMAD,
yeah.
one meal a
All
day.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I just restrict it to anywhere between
yeah.
6 to 8 hours, which is still
Yeah,
relatively restricted. But that also,
so good.
yeah, and that just helps me restrict the calories. My body adapts to
Yeah,
it. I'm not hungry in the morning, and then when my workout
mm,
comes around, I eat right after that. Have my dinner, snacks
yeah,
along the way. If anything, I'm trying to find more to eat, because that's the other
yeah,
kind of back end to it. Is everyone wants to cut their calories down, right? The caloric deficit will help you lose weight, but if you cut it down
yeah,
too much, then you start fucking with your metabolism, and it will slow down, and you may still lose weight to a degree, but your body is not running efficiently anymore, and you start eating into your muscle mass. So when it comes to, it's such
yeah.
a
That's true. It is like the whole, obviously the whole starvation mode thing has been pretty debunked at this point, but it's still that, yeah, if you go in a 5,000 calorie deficit, you're probably not going to be looking too good on the muscle front. Um,
exactly.
which is also it's the same issue with people who want to go in bulk, right? They eat 5,000 calories surplus when they really just need like 600-700 tops,
Exactly.
and most of that should be extra protein. So it's not that the bulk needs 50,000 calories. So
Although that would
it
be
goes the other
fun.
way. Some people would say the perma bulk lifestyle. I'm a bit of a king of that, but I
The
forgot to work out.
permabolk.
I forgot to work out though. Oh
Uh,
man.
So
It
I
was a
know
widely successful book.
I'm going on the ultimate 10-year-long bulk. I'm going to need everyone to leave
Yeah,
me
yeah.
alone. I'm hunkering down. Donate for my Uber Eats.
Supermorbidbeast, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
noticed, I'm sure everyone that follows you, which by the way, hey, congratulations. You just surpassed 50,000 followers.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
tremendous,
you.
man. When we started talking,
Yes,
I
it
mean,
is.
you were around 25,000. That momentum.
Yeah, and even that. Uh, so it's not even that long ago, which is the crazy part.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what? It's incredible because you truly are inspiring so many people. I was one of them. That's how we even met. You see, so many fitness things, especially if that's what you're doing. You know, your algorithm is spitting out all kinds of fitness. And I love seeing it all and engaging with it all and learning different
Yeah.
aspects and mindsets when it comes to fitness. But when I saw yours, it was just like you were taking the bull by the fucking horns and saying, "Nope, this is what I'm doing, and y'all can come along for the
Yeah.
ride."
Deal with it, all right?
Yeah,
Get out.
yeah. Well, I mean, and that was I kind of interrupted my own question, but I mean, the other thing that caught my eye too was your martial arts at
Oh,
your size. Don't pardon me, but when I saw you doing
no,
those
it's
clap push-ups and then you're jumping up to the bar and then your form, dude. I was like, wait, hold on, look at this guy. So how did that get involved in your fitness, the martial art side of things?
so I did a little bit of judo and karate as a kid, like a year each. And I was not a skinny kid by any means. Like I was a little bit chubby, but I was still hanging in there. It's a better time. But so I still kept that interest in martial arts through the years. And I mean, I did a few kickboxing classes and wrestling, blah, throughout my teens, but it was nothing crazy or anything. And then, everything kind of just went off track and fitness was a foreign concept. So when I really started again, I was really just messing around there. I can't really walk past like if I see a heavy bag or something, I need to kick that.
Yeah. Well, that
And
more
it
than
came to me that,
anything is what caught my eye is your
yeah.
is your kicks. Anyone can get around a punching bag, but you were like your foot is like way up here.
People call me Bob from Tekken a lot, and I've kind of embraced that at this point. It's pretty funny. Like, no,
Like,
seriously. It's really just that way when you get into it and you realize you can still do something that you used to be able to do, and you can really even improve it. You want to do that. And it's also, I'd say, martial arts is the by far the most fun cardio there is, by far. Uh, don't get me wrong, there are lots of others that are good with a bunch of uses, but I think that functional cardio is more fun and engaging than some steady state, right?
I completely agree. Anytime I can get out and move around, whether it's play tennis, swim,
Yeah, yeah,
go on a hike, I much prefer that.
yeah.
Jumping rope,
I mean, it doesn't feel like cardio.
exactly. Right? It's something that you're into. And it just takes your mind off of it. Because really, the only thing that sucks about
Yeah,
cardio is just getting in your headspace and
yeah. I'm doing
constant.
this movement for a while.
Yes, you're looking at. That's why I can't. At least for me personally, if I'm on a stationary, whether it's a treadmill or a bike, I don't like to look
Yeah.
at the time because then I just start hyper focusing.
It's been 1 hour. I'm sorry, but it's 5 minutes, bro.
But I really just related to when you said you were able to get back into something that you really like, something you did as a kid. That was one of the hardest things for me when I, for lack of a better term, let myself go. I just gained the most
Yeah.
weight was because I had been relatively, chubby, and then I had
Yeah.
gotten myself into pretty decent shape. So when I, over the years, just stopped working out, stopped caring, I'll always start tomorrow. At some point you almost kind of just accept it, like
Yeah, yeah.
maybe this is just how I'm gonna be. It's okay. Um,
Yeah.
but my knees
It's a
were
dangerous mindset.
hurting. Yeah, my back.
Yeah.
So, but when I got started, one of the mental hurdles, just for me, was really just eliminating the ego again, recalibrating my mindset
Yeah.
because my mind would go, well, I can do this much, I can do it at this level. I can run this far. I can lift this heavy. So when I was failing at it, it was almost like a defeat before I even got started, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I definitely feel you.
Yeah, and then being upset about that. So then in turn, drinking more. Just, character defects, even for myself. It's kind of as this cyclical. I was depressed, and I'm a pretty extroverted person, so it doesn't manifest in a way that people would necessarily see, right? Because I still like to be open and talk to people and ask them how they're doing, while internally I was just like struggling like crazy. So sorry, I kind of went deep there real quick, but
Well, we're getting there.
But for me, just that the depth there was going, okay, if I do something every day, if I just show up, the results will happen. I didn't get this way overnight. I don't mean this like when I was heavy. I didn't get there overnight, and I didn't get back here overnight. So that's what I had to,
it's always just
exactly, and starting to pair habits together helped. If there was, I do a lot of audiobooks, so if it's like I'm just going to put something on, I'm going to be moving, right? And then turning my lunch break at work into that's when I'm going to work out, because then there's really no excuse, right? Early morning is tough, and whatever works best for you. I'm not advocating switch your workouts to your lunch breaks. But for me, early mornings were tough because it's like, the waking up, which I then in turn was able to do later once I was able to facilitate that midday habit. It's all about building something that works best for you. Find one thing, invest in that, because then everything else will start to fall in line. And that's,
agreed,
I think, was the biggest hurdle for me at first, was you just have to put aside your ego and start.
Show up and do it.
Just show up.
Absolutely, I agree with that. There's a lot of people like it kind of on that topic, right? Afraid of starting where you start. There are people, they'll be embarrassed because they just bench the bar, right? But everybody starts somewhere. It doesn't matter if you start with that, or if you or some kind of sicko start with 225, or some athletes they get into lifting and suddenly, guess what, they're pretty strong. But it really doesn't matter where you are, because generally most people, they don't care.
That's a good point.
It's like, okay, I don't know if that's the best example, because there are 50,000 people watching me do what I do, right? So okay, maybe some of them do care. Definitely some a little too much. But it's really, you just gotta pick your starting point. Especially you mentioned the clapping push-ups earlier. Obviously, those have been a pretty big.
You mentioned the clapping push-ups that I do.
Yeah, we're talking about that. No, some people they comment stuff like, "What the hell, dude? I'm 150 pounds. I can't do that." But I had to remind them that I started doing push-ups against the wall, fully vertical. I could probably still do them on my knees back then, but I decided to humble myself, start with what I could do for 20 to 30 reps per set, and then move on. I actually did make a video on the progressions that I did, but some people are afraid of doing those progressions because they think they look stupid. But what really looks stupid is not trying at all.
Exactly.
So I don't care if it's on your knees. It's not girl push-ups, by the way, for anyone wondering that. It's valid, and like, you just gotta find out where you are and work with it.
Exactly. You have to start somewhere, and but that video was a really good video, because it was basic, but it was. I mean, it said like, hey, listen, you said this is what I did to get here, and so many people. I love sharing the journey, and one of my goals, because I kept going, well, maybe I'll wait till I'm like in a little bit better shape to start sharing these, and I said, well, no, because then that transformation will be documented and you can see. I want that time frame to make sense, because people, I'll get comments, or people reach out and go, wow, I wish I could do that. What did you do? And it's not as big a secret as the fitness industry would make it seem, right? Because they're trying to
Yeah.
capitalize and monetize everything. So it's here's all of the little tips and tricks, and like, you know, I have workouts for sale, just if you want to support me. But when I promote them, say also if you don't want to spend the $20 to buy that, just let me know, and I'll
Yeah.
still send you something that you can get started with. I'll just make
Yeah.
a corresponding workout plan for your level, because at the end of the day, that, like, it goes back to we didn't get to where we are overnight. And progressive
Absolutely.
overload, I do all kinds of stuff. I can't do right now is a pistol squat, which I really want to. So that's you know what a pistol
Yeah.
squat is, where your front leg actually goes down.
Yeah. If it makes you feel any better, I can't do that either.
Yeah, it looked like I'm doing gang signs, and I was like, pistol squat.
We're really gangsters.
Yeah, but yeah, and so I'm on my leg days, I'm standing on an elevated surface and just heel tapping, and then I'm made progress, and I realized I was like, I should start documenting that and put that up once a week so people can see,
do that.
hey, I can't just pop into a pistol squat,
Yeah.
and it's gonna take
love
months.
to see the progressions.
Absolutely. So when people reach out and go, how'd you do it?
You have to finish
Overtime. Yes, overtime is the answer. And I put something up today that said, document yourself, right? Because there's times where I still feel like this. I'm sure you feel like this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'll wake up and go, man, this consistency, all this effort I'm putting in, like I'm not seeing the results. And I know I gotta keep doing it.
Absolutely.
And I'm down. But then I have pictures, I have documentation of myself, and I go, wow.
Yeah.
You know, maybe a week ago, a month ago, 4 months ago, I might not see it. But a year and a half ago, sure as hell I can see it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you gotta trust the process, but it's hard to trust the process when it doesn't look like anything is happening. But
Yes.
I mean, that's also why it's so important to document anything. I especially stuff like write down your workouts. It doesn't matter if you use an app or a notebook. Personally, I'm a notebook guy. Write down every lift, every set, whatever I'm doing. Obviously, I have my weigh-ins, I have my progress pictures, and it's really just. I'm not saying everyone has to document it to share with others. So of course, you can do whatever you will feel like in that regard.
Yeah, keep it to yourself.
You don't need to be an Instagram fitness account. You don't need that to document. You can just
you don't need to be attention whores like us.
Yeah. Yes.
I do enjoy it though, because I love being able to offer assistance. Because people started asking me just on the day to day, and then in addition to just all of the pitfalls and failures that I went through, I want to like just save people the time of going through that, because there is so much BS that is pushed out. So between that and I love being creative and video editing in general, so it's kind of a melding passions for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I enjoy the hell out of it. So let's jump into this. We'll bird trail all day. This kind of is what we've been discussing, but maybe you can offer us a more specific from your end. But what were some of the biggest challenges you encountered just so far on your weight loss journey? And what were some of the steps you did to manage them? Even if it's something we discussed, what are some of those tactics?
Yeah, we did briefly pop into the topic, and I'd say that biggest thing was the consistency, or also, actually, I think another good one, motivation. You want to look for motivation when you start out. You're gonna watch those David Goggins 3 a.m. motivation videos, right? You're gonna
carry the boats.
I'm gonna carry the boats and the logs, right? It's Bob from fucking Tekken, right? In all seriousness, what I found was the solution to that was the discipline over the motivation. The biggest difference. People sometimes get them confused, think they're the same thing, but they're really not, by a long shot. So that's the thing. One, stop looking for motivation. You're not going to be motivated. It's not going to happen. Or maybe they will, but it's going to fade. And when that happens, you need to be disciplined. And that's something, I struggle with that. I struggle with becoming disciplined as well. do I still mess up sometimes? Sure, but it's as you also said, it's about not turning one bad day or one bad moment into multiple, and eventually your body will just start doing what it needs to do on its own.
Yeah.
You don't. How the fuck did I get to the gym? How did I get to the gym? 20 minutes ago, I was in bed. What's going on here?
It's
And
not
you're just
making yourself, you just start doing it. Because a good way of looking at
yeah,
that, to your point, is if you take the two, discipline and motivation, if you
yeah,
remove the discipline and you just stick with motivation, when that wanes,
yeah.
you're not going
You're
to be
done.
able to follow through. If you take away the motivation intentionally, fuck you, right? I'm going to do it anyways. It's there. You're not in the headspace. And then once the discipline is there, once you've paved the way, when motivation
Yeah,
comes, it's an extra boost versus the sauce to get you started.
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying motivation can be a good thing, so I agree with that. Like, you can be motivated and disciplined, but you should just, as you also put it, fuck motivation, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't that doesn't matter in comparison. It's great to have, and I mean, again, some people they watch my content, they're like, "Oh, bro, that's so motivating." I'm like, you make sure to stay disciplined too, little buddy.
Yeah. Come over and get some tips from me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
When I'm giving them, there's half the time I'm like, am I just making jokes over here? Am I helping people?
No, the feel okay,
Yeah,
like but I think indirectly there will always be motivation given out when you're making content about a journey because some people are going to relate to it, and that's how it really gets to that point where
absolutely.
people feel motivated. No, but if I can make one person disciplined, then I'd be pretty happy about that. And I've received a lot of messages from people that have genuinely made some awesome changes, and they're like, "Bro, you were my inspiration to start that." Just this morning, actually, someone was like, "Hey, man, I started cycling because of your content." Awesome, dude.
See, that's
And
awesome.
yeah, very awesome. It's really interesting because that's also one of my goals now. It wasn't when I started doing the content necessarily that, at least. Of course, it would be a proxy and thereby pretty cool, but changing the world to be a healthier place and not just myself. So it's a win-win situation.
Big time. And I think you're doing that well, even when the maybe initial onset of a video tends to come off as simply motivational. What's great about it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because some people see it and they go, yeah, I'm motivated. But when they see you doing that day in and day out, not
Yeah.
only are you motivating them, you're proving the consistency of it. You're like, is this
Yeah.
motivating you? Cool. Is this motivating you? Is this okay?
Yeah.
Look at this guy. He's still doing it. And you preach
Yeah.
that. You say
Go.
consistency is key every single time. That's what we should
Yeah.
name this entire podcast or this entire interview.
Yeah.
Consistency.
No, podcast. We gotta get that. We and
Yes.
the three the Stay Soft podcast.
Yeah. That's a good segue as we're talking about the outreach and kind of the reception that I know we've discussed receiving and what that means. So having said that, what initially motivated, we'll use that word, got you to start sharing this journey, to make an Instagram page over, just doing it on your own?
So initially it was meant to be an accountability page of sorts. I wanted to I would be posting my macros and calories. Spoiler alert, I stopped doing that because it was a lot of extra stress. And I mean, it's not what people want to see either. So I posted. I just wanted to start posting my workouts, and there was really no like reason to not do it because it would just keep me more accountable. And I will definitely say that now it's keeping me accountable. All right. If I stop posting, I would get messages about that
Yeah.
very quickly. So it has definitely worked in that regard as an accountability page. But then over time it changed. It was also about the time when I started taking things way more seriously. That okay, I've got something I could do here. I'm gonna spread a good message, and that's really what turned it from just posting like a few workout videos and some calorie counters once in a while to making content,
Right.
which is obviously very different now. If you look at my really old stuff compared to now, So this changed over time, but it means the same to me to do the content. It's accountability and motivation.
Yeah.
No, accountability and inspiring, and like inspiring a healthier world.
Well, and the response you've gotten, I'm sure, has just influenced continuing on that. I know for me,
Yeah,
it's been the same thing. My initial mindset going into it, as far as sharing the journey and doing it, was, and I kind of touched on this a little earlier, but I did it all, right. I did the
yeah,
from keto diet to not quite carnivore to all different types of diets. When it came to exercise, it was like, okay, that program, um
yeah,
only doing cardio, only doing all of the different stuff that's just pushed rammed
yeah,
down your throat. To
yeah.
have
All
this
fast.
pill, take this vitamin, do that.
Yeah,
And so I kind of got to a point where, when I hunkered down and found what truly works, and don't get me wrong, there is tons of
yeah.
different
Lots
outlets.
of things work. What
Yeah,
needs to work
lots
for
of
you?
things work. But at the end of the day, it's how to make them work, right?
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
just felt like, when I got traction, I just wanted to go, hey, everyone, it's not easy. I don't want to say it's easy, but it's way, way easier than you think. I saw someone today, and I don't even
Yeah,
remember. I'll have to go back and give them credit, but they said weight loss, or just fitness in general, isn't easy, and it's not linear. You're not going to just have that straight
that's true.
down. You're gonna spike and fall. Um,
Absolutely.
right? So when I finally started getting success, um, I really just wanted to go, let's take a step back and,
Yeah,
and enjoy it too, right? Because so much of the fitness industry is just, this is what's wrong with you. This is how we fix it. You got to get out there and bust your
buy
ass.
our fat burner pill.
Right. And work extra hard. And you do have to work
Yeah,
hard, but you can have fun,
too
right?
hard, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We can have a good time. We can have conversations
yeah,
like this. You can do
yeah.
martial arts. You can be silly and make jokes, right? And that's what I'm trying to bring
Absolutely.
to my page.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
At least to
Yeah,
answer
I love
my own
that that
question to
way.
you for me.
No, yeah, yeah. I definitely like. I love the way you're doing your content, by the way. Like it's. I love a good humor spiced into it.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm trying to make it as digestible as possible. Because,
Yeah,
how many of
like
these just like,
because everyone can understand.
right. How much of this, like, over the shoulder, like, can I talk to you about your life? Yeah. Every rep counts. And I do some of that when it's like it's showing the hard work of it. But then I can also turn
Yeah,
around and go, wasn't that stupid?
it's good to have that to be able to joke around with yourself a little bit as well, not taking yourself so seriously that you can
Yes.
joke. I
Yes.
mean, again, point in case, Bob from second, right?
Yeah.
That's
I don't want to be bought from Tekken. Okay. Tekken.
I'll be Bob from second. All right, all right.
Yes. Oh man. So this is kind of silly because, I mean, again, we're kind of just hitting these all naturally, but who or what inspires and motivates you to keep pushing your journey? And I know that the answer typically is the consistency you've built. But
Yeah.
what does motivate you when motivation does rear up?
So I'd really just say myself because that's like who motivates you? Me. I motivate me because I don't believe in motivation. I believe in the discipline, and thereby, when either runs out, I just tell myself, "Hey, bitch, you got shit to do. You're not done. You still have stuff to do." And I don't think there's really. I mean, sure, I could be again. It could be 3 a.m. I could still be watching some David Goggins motivational speech, but it's just not. I've really moved away from that, and I found that it actually helped a lot. No more Sigma male speeches, right? It doesn't help. So you just have to keep yourself accountable and motivate, and for lack of a better term, and inspire yourself.
That is the perfect answer. Myself. That's such a good answer because ultimately that's I asked myself when I wrote some of these questions down, I asked myself that, and
Yeah.
I was trying to
Yeah, what would
find,
you
yeah, and I didn't have an answer because I was looking outward, you know. I'll have bursts of
Yeah.
inspiration from people like you or people things
Yeah.
I see online or other people's even not to
Yeah.
fitness, but people's just commitment, whether it's in
Yeah.
business or their family, just the drive to continue. Again, we're going to talk about
Yeah.
consistency all fucking night, but it is relevant to every aspect of your life. And, I, for
Yeah.
myself, can say being there for my family. I remember trying to pick up my son and it was hard, or I got tired out. I'm like, I'm too young to feel that way, right? But ultimately, I can't
And
be
now
there
you're
for anyone else. Yeah, right? Now I just chuck them across the room. Go eat your dinner. But ultimately, I can't be there for anyone else if I haven't
you know, for
been there for
yourself
myself.
first.
Right.
Yeah.
So if someone's asking me
And
that
I
question, I'm
mean,
going to steal that. I
yeah.
motivate me.
You should make that into like a sigma edit, because like you cut it from you just asking, so who motivates you, and then it gets towards me being like, do
Me.
the black and white filter and sigma music.
Yes.
But true, that's not to say that there aren't very, very inspiring people out there, and other
Absolutely.
creators. I mean, you are also. I mean, we talked a bit about it earlier, but your journey is also quite right. Like it's quite awesome. So there's you as well, right? And we have awesome people like Hulky Dad, John George. This I follow a good chunk of people doing their own
They're all
journeys.
great. I mean, even you mentioned earlier, obese to beast.
It's awesome.
And that is a testament to the time, right? Because he's not like, look at this 2022 to 2023. Don't get me wrong, that is tremendous work. But he's gone from very obese to thin
Yeah.
to now he's bulked. And it's like a
Yeah,
10-year process.
it is, and people are like, "Oh, I mean, I do see those comments as well, right?" And it's not that I diminish what they're saying, because it's meant in a good way. But they're like, "Oh, bro, you're gonna be a beast in a few months, right?" But it's definitely gonna take more than a few months. It's gonna take years for sure to get to
Years and
where I want it to
years.
be. But I'm in for the process. I'm in for the journey, and so are the lovely people who follow it.
Exactly. And as soon as you take it for what it is, a lifestyle versus a
Yeah,
routine, a
yeah. You don't.
diet.
It's a 2-year diet. No,
Yes, yeah,
it's really,
yeah. I mean, as the older I get, the more I see the truth in so many sayings, like the move it or lose it. I see, some family that is pretty stagnant and doesn't move. That is, the same age as some other older people in my family that, and they're not like out there running and lifting weights, but they move. They get up, they
yeah.
walk, they play pickleball, as everyone in America is doing. I don't know how that's blown up in Denmark yet. But
Not quite, not quite.
yeah, but just and the difference in them completely, right? They're able
Yeah,
to get up stairs. They're able to bend over and tie their shoes.
the basic things.
Yeah,
And those things in particular, just to segue a bit into that, like the abilities that you don't have when you are severely obese, or even just a little bit. There are some basic things like running, even if you're just 20 pounds overweight. It doesn't have to be 200, but literally just 20, it will hurt your ligaments or joints. You will get injured from running. It's almost a guarantee. It is if you're 30, 50 pounds overweight, you're guaranteed to hurt yourself going for a run. And that's like one of the basic things. Now, that's why I fight, right? I don't run away, I fight. And
yeah,
so could have bitch. Just
yeah.
what's your
Let's go. I'm not gonna chase you.
yeah,
I
but it's definitely that, right? The basic abilities that people underestimate that normal, or for lack of a better term, normal people have.
Yeah, and I think that could be oftentimes, unfortunately, a big deterrent from getting started. I know we talked a lot about what does it take to just start. What do you need? What are the steps? And for a lot of people that are very heavy, it's like going for a jog isn't necessarily
Yeah,
reasonable because,
exactly.
or my back hurts, my knees hurt,
Yeah,
and then when you embrace the idea
yeah,
that as you get in shape, a lot of that pain not will, but can be alleviated. So much of that is
yeah,
inflammation and the extra weight.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, my biggest recommendation is literally
Just do
walking.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People underestimate how much walking can actually do. Light
I agree.
incline.
It's more like it's actually more efficient than running is if you really like because walking isn't gonna exhaust you, so you lower your need for the rest of the day, right?
Mhm.
I saw you had made a reel about that. People should watch it.
Yes. Which
Like
NEAT is
you're not
non-exercise activity thermogenics,
yeah
which accounts for roughly 20% of your total daily
yeah
energy expenditure, where exercise can only get up to 12, 15 if you're just an athlete all
yeah
day. So if you just
yeah
incorporate a little bit of movement in your day, it can
yeah
significantly
absolutely.
affect your overall calorie burn.
And it's like, but it's also like, there may be people like watching this interview, maybe they're like 700 or more pounds, right? At that point, walking is just a problem, but you don't even have to do that. You can, I've seen a really, really awesome journey on bodybuilding.com. I couldn't recall the name, but he started out with cardio, which was just flopping his body around, right? Sitting like this, which is again, it's enough for some people. If you're at a point where you cannot walk, then I can guarantee you that doing that is going to burn as no like as much calories and as anyone else walking. Uh,
Absolutely.
the bigger you are, the less it takes, and you really don't need anything fancy. You don't need to go do anything. You don't need equipment. You just do something. A calorie deficit, move around a little bit more every day. You'll get it.
Constant overload. Just do a little bit more, a little
Just
bit heavier. Just make it
1%
better.
more.
Yep. And if you can't, you've exerted your body to try, and that's all you.
And that's worth it by itself, right? If you have tried and you have failed, then, well, congratulations, you have achieved failure, as some
Yes,
class would say.
exactly. Yeah, and I think that's another double-edged sword, um, in the effort side of things is the rest and recuperation, right? Because it is
Yeah,
extremely
absolutely.
valuable. Like
It is.
sleep is paramount. That is one of the most underrated things when it comes to fitness. I mean, you can
Yeah.
literally lose up to 30% of your muscle synthesis after
Yeah.
lifting based on lack of sleep in one day.
Not
Um,
sleeping will literally kill your gains.
yes, exactly. Yeah, it can totally mess it up. But the other side of that is there is such a big output or kind of mindset that I have to a lot of time, a lot of time for recovery that I think
Yeah.
people are missing out on some compound interest opportunities. For,
Absolutely.
for example, if you're a little sore, I know guys all the time they'll go do a bike
Yeah.
ride or a leg day. Oh, I'm a little sore. I'm gonna take the next day or two off. Well, you have your entire
Yeah.
upper body, and actually,
Mm.
I'm not saying go lift heavy, but if you do a little bit of calisthenics and even some
Just a
body
little
weight
bit.
squats,
Yeah.
you'll actually
To recover.
alleviate some of that pain in your legs, right? Things like your arms or your abdomens are they're built in a way they can take a lot. A little
Yeah.
bit of daily activity. As a matter of fact, someone I follow, um, he was telling me his biggest gains was when he started incorporating daily push-ups and pull-ups. He's not going crazy, but after every workout, he would just add on 20 to 30 of each. And I thought that was pretty fascinating. I started doing that myself with certain activities, and you really see the results of compound interest. Having said that, you got to listen to your body. That's the toughest thing, right?
Absolutely. Um, yeah, it's also like because on the subject of rest, right? Sometimes
Oh,
also
that was
like
I'm so sorry to interrupt.
yeah, no, it's okay. It's
I want to give him a shout out. That's Stevie Ray. But I'm
okay.
sorry.
I don't know what was it. Oh yeah, on subject of recovery, there's also been times right where I've taken or like if for example an injury or something, I took a week off the gym and when I got back, I was actually my numbers were up. Sometimes you need that rest for the muscles to actually recover because I'm terrible with sleep. I am so terrible at sleep. It's actually insomnia is a bitch, right? Insomnia is a bitch, and sure, one could probably just get some pills for it, but at this point, I'm just a stubborn male, just a
Right.
stubborn man. But sometimes taking, I'm not saying you should take a week off from the gym every month. That would obviously not be good. But if you've been working out 6 to 7 days a week for a year, try to take a week off and come back and see what happens, because I can tell you it's probably only good.
It's so important. You're so right. It's finding that balance and listening to your body. Don't use the rest and in recouping as an excuse, but make sure you are giving it to yourself via sleep, whether it's weekends off or that like 3 months I've been grinding instead of a week off every month. All right, 3 months this week. And what I like to advise is active recovery, meaning it's not like I'm taking a week off the gym doesn't mean I'm just sitting and watching Netflix for a week. I maybe instead of leg day going and lifting, I go for a walk, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you could superset some Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, but
both tremendous.
absolutely can recommend if you haven't. No spoilers.
Yes. I'm actually not caught up on Better Call Saul, though. I'm a couple seasons behind.
You better get going, buddy.
I know.
I'll argue it's even better than Breaking Bad as a take and a half.
I started leaning that way too. Maybe we're gonna get canceled now for not liking Breaking Bad more. But
I think Breaking Bad, but it's just Saul is such an interesting character. He's the underdog. You want him to win.
Yes, he's the classic charismatic anti-hero.
Oh man, I love a good anti-hero, especially the chaotic ones.
Oh yes, you know what he is consistent. Have we talked about consistency yet?
I don't know. Have we?
Another thing I have written down, and we can, as I hit some of these, we can breeze over it because a lot of them, we've harped on. This one says, how significant has the online fitness community been in supporting your journey? What advice do we have for individuals who want to start their own fitness transformation? I think we pretty much just discussed that.
We have, the community is awesome for starters. I think that the fitness community gets a lot of shit sometimes when it's really just a loud minority of people who will be like, oh, you don't bench 225? Well, you're a fucking woman then.
Yeah.
Not to say women can't.
Yeah, I was going to say, meanwhile, some badass women I know are benching that.
Yeah, I mean, there are people out there doing amazing things, but there's I think that's also like, so there are two toxic aspects of the gym community. One, the people gatekeep, like, oh, you don't bench 225, you aren't a gym goer. Yet 1% of the population can bench 225. So
yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to better myself.
Sorry about that. Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm not benching 405 yet. And then we got the other side of the spectrum, people who are doing absolutely stupid shit. Have you seen the 2-inch range of motion bench press, bro? Come on. And people are like, so it's easy to clown on that, but yeah, it really depends on how people portray themselves with it. Some people, they post a bad lift, right, and they take the advice to heart, but people can really be toxic about everything in that regard. The phone police as well, right?
Right.
They're also like, oh, your 800-pound deadlift, it doesn't matter, dude. It's sumo. I don't do deadlift. I don't do deadlift. I don't care what people do, but it's like, is it the same lift as a deadlift? No, but I don't care. It's not yet. How they lift the stick with heavy circles doesn't affect me.
Yeah, me doing it.
But yeah, so it could be like, so people can be really toxic in that regard. But I don't see a lot of that. It'll be a witty comment here or there, right?
Sure.
Like, yeah, actually, that's a third part of like misinformation. Misinformation is also a bad one. But again, it's a loud minority, 1% max.
I completely agree. It is a very loud minority because what I've experienced, and I've seen that, what you're referencing, but I've seen nothing but like just everyone uplifting each other. There's people that there's, I mean, for example, just getting to know you and just the constant like, hey, encouragement back and forth. So many people I've met along the way, and not only encouraging each other, but learning from each other, going, hey, I noticed that you did this. How is that working for you? It's great. It's bad. It's, how can I incorporate that? And I've taken a lot of information and been able to tweak and develop even my own routines just based on these relationships I've cultivated within this little community. So it's the toxic ones we have to find and destroy.
Yeah. Far from taking this code.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Well,
And it's been
yeah,
pretty.
we just cover getting started, right? That's just getting started. Consistency. I think we went over that one pretty well.
Exactly. There was one. How many actually just scrolled? We can edit this part out, but
Yeah.
there was one I really wanted to talk about. I guess it kind of. What the fuck? I read it. Well, that's not what I was looking for, but that's a good one. Are there? I mean, obviously, just staying consistent.
Yeah.
It's a lifelong journey. But do you have any short-term or even more long-term goals you have set, or are there any upcoming projects or specific content that you're excited to share, or even just starting to develop in your head?
So as for goals, I mean, obviously we have my weight loss goal in general, which is I'm not so extremely particular pound to pound how it should be because, as you said, right, it's a lifelong process, and thereby, maybe I'll change my mind when I get further down. Maybe I will be like, right now, I'd say I want to be around 185, including skin removal, whenever if that does become a factor. Which, I mean, most people who are over 100 pounds overweight definitely will probably experience that. So that's one thing, right? I want to cut down to about that weight and like be as aesthetic as possible with what I have to work with. But I also just want to do more things. For recently, I posted some content with some parkour as well. I also did that as a kid. So it's like, just do the things that I wasn't not able to do. Hardcore parkour, bro.
Yes.
It was just like a few basic vaults, right? But I wanted to see if I could still do them at my current weight, which, I mean, to be fair, I was a little surprised, but still. It's obviously also a little high impact. Same issue with running, so it's not ideal. But in general, as I cut down, a goal is to rediscover and improve my skills in these things that I enjoy, whether it be martial arts, parkour, or something else entirely.
And going back to, what's enjoyable, what's fun, what can you do?
Just do the things that weight stop me from doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely also other goals to it. Like, I mean, now that I have a genuine opportunity to inspire the world to be healthier, I definitely gotta work with that, right? Not that I have any specific goals in mind for anything, but 100K by end of year, just saying.
There you go.
If I hit a couple of viral bangers, but no. So I guess the goal in that regard is just inspiring as many people as possible, really. And if I can get to a point where that's what I can focus 100% of my time on, I would love to do that.
I think that's a noble, because it's not only helping people, but you enjoy doing it. You're not having to bend over backwards. It's not, oh man, here I am. I fell into this and now I got to do it. It's taking passion of fitness, and staying in shape. And not only are you able to stay consistent with it and share it, but you're helping so many people. And I think it truly is something special. You just find that one person that, as you said, reach out and say, hey, I started doing this. They're going to, at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to make the decision and do it for themselves. But to have any kind of remote inkling or just starting that journey is really amazing.
And it's not just like one or two either. There's a lot of messages, which I mean, also to people watching this who have written me and I haven't responded yet, I'll get on it. I thought in the beginning that I would be able to respond to every single message and comment that I got. I quickly realized that's not very realistic.
Hey, that's a good point. Saying that.
Yeah.
You want to. It's not that you can't.
It definitely. I mean, I've been in the place of someone just watching, consuming the content, and I've tried to like writing to people before, like, oh, bro, you content is so motivational, and I mean, when you don't know how it is to answer like a billion DMs, you just don't think about how much work that actually is. I spend 20 hours a week on Instagram right now, and the vast majority of that is answering people.
Well, hey, that just goes to show you how invested you are into everyone else too. You're putting the time and effort into yourself, and it's not for nothing. You clearly care, and I think that means a lot. I mean, like, these are the kinds of messages I'm getting. Hey, asshole, knock it off. This shit sucks. I'm so inspired to delete Instagram. You consistently suck. I'm kidding, but
Imagine though. Imagine though. Actually, I mean, again, that's the thing. I'd say the toxic loud minority, they don't apply to DMs, I find. It's very rare that someone will go out of their way to DM hate. I think I have received at most like 10 messages out of, and I cannot stress this, thousands, like that were directly negative, and it was people who clearly weren't doing too good. So I don't take that very personally at all.
I think too, it's probably not in the DM because that negativity isn't truly for you. It's for the audience. It's hijacking your audience to go look at me.
Yeah.
They
want to
reading the comments.
And there's certainly, and yeah, there are definitely people who succeed a little bit in doing that, but I rarely find that haters make it very far in my comment sections because, and I actually, it's funny, I talked with Hulky Dad about it recently, that like people defend the hell out of you, right? They like what you're doing, they're feeling inspired, so they see some stupid comment and they'll go off. Sometimes it's like I delete I don't delete a lot of comments or block people because I genuinely don't care that much, but I will sometimes if somebody wrote something like negative and people are really going off on them, I shouldn't care, maybe a little bit, but that's not what my comments should be about, right? So,
exactly. You don't want it to turn. You don't want their negativity to turn previously positive people down to their level. Exactly.
Yeah. It's like I've seen for example, something like oh, you should just go on a 5,000-mile run, and yeah, let's just say people really went up that poor sod.
All right, fine, I get it. I'll stop leaving negative comments on your page, Chris. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's better. You better watch out, bro.
And I don't want one of those kicks coming in hot. So I'm no longer going off of my list. We hit everything that I think I wanted to hit. But having said that, yeah, just shooting the shit.
Yeah.
When you really took on the full role that you have, I know it was what it's become isn't what you started at. What was the hardest part about taking on that responsibility outside of just the sheer numbers of having to talk to people? Was there a hardship in allotting the time and the time management, or was it I didn't anticipate making this much content? Is there anything along those lines?
Both, yes. Time consuming is definitely a way to describe it. It's very time consuming. But sometimes people also think that okay, then that's all you're doing because you're spending all your time on social media. But no, it's really just between sets, both doing something else. Like I've been answering comments on their tables entirely. I'm kidding.
Yeah. What was that, Chris? I'm sorry.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's really that there's that aspect of it, the whole sheer amount of numbers that you have to focus on. But I've also got really, really in tune with focusing on making consistent and good content. And of course, we could argue whether it's good or not. Some people definitely do, but it's content, all right. It's content. It's what they're getting.
Right.
It definitely changed with time because my growth on the platform has been very quick. It was definitely like that, right?
Oh yeah.
So 2 months ago, I had 183 followers, man. And like,
wow, just 2 months ago.
My most liked reel had like 430 likes, which was uploaded on New Year, like last year. But I'd been on Instagram for, aside from like 4 to 5 month break that I think I addressed a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
aside from that, I've been doing it for some months, right? And just kind of doing it for the fun. But it's really different now because I do take it very seriously in the fact that it's a genuine opportunity to change the world for the better while also changing myself for the better.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? People go, "Oh, changing the world," but I mean, it truly are because at the end of the day, and I won't point out specifics, but when you get into like world issues, so many big things, it can feel overwhelming, right? And it's like, what can I
Absolutely.
physically do as one teeny person in this
Yeah.
global spectrum? You can
At
become
this scale.
nihilistic, right? And I genuinely believe just seizing the mode, you know, perception is that just making one person's day a little bit brighter, making someone laugh, having someone feel inspired is a butterfly effect because then it just continues out. It's the corniest, most like overutilized concept, but I think is that way because of how true it really is. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
Just getting to know you in particular is such a perfect example because our immediate like back and forth was entertaining, and then we had some real conversations other outside of just like supporting each other. Man, you had me rolling, man. I was laughing, and it turned from this like, oh cool, like, oh, let's see, wow, that's a cool video, to a little bit more in depth. And then we had our first chat, and we went off the rails talking about David Goggins and pizza and the whole nine. I know we're like, is this interview going to be anything about fitness or?
No, I think we're preparing to be charged with several federal crimes.
Absolutely. They're probably going to be at the door any minute here. So, yes. Yeah. Hold on tight. So,
actually, I'll hold up my camera. Yeah. Oh, that is actually better.
Yes, there you are.
All right, we doing this now. All right, let's start over.
Yeah, well, let's start from scratch. So, good morning or good evening, wherever you are, wherever you're watching. When it comes to exercise, I know you do a little bit of everything. Do you change it up, or do you have this is my routine, this is what I'm doing, this is what I stick to?
So I will change things up occasionally. I do have an overall program, one that's really extensive, really optimal, blah blah. It's like a mostly powerlifting, but also a little bit of hypertrophy based that I work with, and then sometimes I'll switch out, do alternate exercises. As long as I hit the sets per muscle group per week that I need, it's pretty good. But obviously, you are going to want to do similar exercises each time, so you have a gauge for how much growth you have. Again, that's mostly talking from a like power perspective,
Right?
Because I mean, you're going to figure out you're not going to get good at bench pressing if you don't bench press more than once a week, for example. I mean, not saying it's impossible to do so, but it's just not optimal for example. It's specifically for bench growth, by the way. Like, if that makes sense.
No, of course.
My cardio is way more loose, though. That's really just
Get it where you
sometimes
can.
I'll steady state. So yeah, exactly. Like it doesn't have to be the same every time, or like my martial arts routines are not the same every time either. So it's really just that I change that up to sort of what I need. Maybe sometimes I'll be like, okay, today we're working with a boxing, like a little classic boxing, right? I didn't like that because I skip handstand, bro. We only do kicks here.
Yes. Like, tie my hands behind my back. We're gonna do some martial arts.
Yeah. I don't. You know, I don't need that. I don't need.
Yeah, I tend to find that I got a lot better results when my cardio was just kind of built in. I would do, a lifting day, cardio day, lifting day, cardio day. But once I just incorporated cardio kind of across the board, do it in addition to or in between, I found in between sets, getting cardio in was great because I'm keeping my heart rate elevated.
Actually, hold up one second.
Of course. The part where I just dance for everyone. This is what you really came to see.
Oh yeah, baby. Show it off. So, Delta Alpha Design just sent me like this awesome weighted skipping rope.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's like
super
weighted. Awesome. Yeah, it's super awesome. It's like for between sets, it was advised to like do some reps between sets with it. It like supposedly increased blood flow, and I mean, it's also, I mean, to be fair, I think this doubles as a weapon. So
Yeah.
if we do
A
ever,
lasso.
yeah, no, but it's like really thick as well. I think definitely.
Oh, yes. As you're skipping, you say, come closer. Come closer. What?
It should then be like, but no, it's really awesome. Like, send me a bunch of cool stuff as well.
That's amazing.
Nice. Yeah,
You have to let me know how you like that.
yeah, I will. I've got a session later, so it's gonna be great.
Nice. Yeah, well, yeah, once I started doing the cardio, is kind of just mixed in. Everything was streamlined. Everything was easier. I felt like I was getting better results because then I could really mix up my exercises as well. I try and do a couple months on one thing and then completely mix it up because I'll like right now I'm in the middle of your classic push pull legs,
Yeah,
weights with weights obviously.
it's like it's a fantastic split. Like no
Yeah,
doubt about it.
yeah, it's straightforward. It's classic. I really like mixing in the calisthenics though because I feel like I'm not doing it strictly to make my muscles bigger.
No, I get you.
You know,
Yeah,
I
it's
want
about the
the
function.
mobility and full range of motion and just my
Agree.
day to day. So yeah, a lot of that has been really big. Sometimes I'll be sore in other places, even though I'm doing legs, but by doing like ice skater lunges, just mixing it up in that regard,
Yeah,
I'm not actually wearing ice skates. Although I bet that's
extra layer. You know, why don't you do heavy barbell squats and
ice skates on concrete.
yeah, on concrete? Like it's
I think
just
we're
a
onto
really
something.
I think that's a new thing. So people
Yes.
skip legs anyway. I mean, but the psychopaths, they're gonna want to try it.
Yes.
David Gock, you're watching this.
Yeah. We know where you're at.
Please try it out. Tell us how it goes. But now, my first thought when you said you were sore other places when training legs, I was like, yeah, I bench press like this. Well, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do though, I actually do, and hear me out. It's not as bad as it sounds, I promise. But it's like, as I said, you need to bench several times a week if you want to make the best of it. I only have 2 chest days, and I bench 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Not
Well, that goes
really
back to
my
what you said about compound interest, right? You're
Yeah.
maximizing.
literally compound interest.
Yes. Do you have what is chest your favorite? Do you have a favorite when you're lifting? Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the quintessential. Everyone loves it.
It really, everyone does. They do, and I know I'll have a killer chest when it's shredded, right?
Yeah. Boom. What's your least favorite? That's the better question. What's your least favorite?
Isn't the default answer just legs at this point? The thing is, I like leg exercises. I like leg extensions. I like calf raises. Yeah, you fucking hurt me, right? I like calf raises, but I hate barbell squats. I hate squats. It's an ego killer, and I don't like it. It's honestly, I mean, the thing is, when you can put up like significant numbers in other lifts, and you'll humble yourself with barbell squat, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, if I squat the bar, I'm still squatting 405. Like that's not right. So you get really discouraged by that. I mean, obviously we don't count body weight in PR, but if we did, at that point, I'll be squatting 300
Right. Like I'm killing it, boy.
kilos, of course, kilos.
Yes.
And yeah. So it would be pretty wild, right?
Yeah.
At least that's like my heaviest, right? That's what I can do at that point. Yeah. But it's really, yeah, it's not exercise, it's not, or it's like mostly that, because again, most of my workouts are about the compound lifts. So, we get deadlifts on back day, though. Yeah, I know some people like to do that on leg day as well, but yeah, I do it on back. And then, we got the leg squats and everyday bench. I kind of just overhead. Oh, I love those. Love it. They're so good.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of I mean, it's not, I like it all, but I'm the most, okay, here we go with back.
Yeah.
But I think specifically with pull-ups, because those are still new to me. I mean, well, yeah. But yeah, I think it's maybe the same reason that you don't like the squats. Just like an ego killer. I'll do push-ups all day. I go do pull-ups and I'm like, after a few sets, I'm like, if I can get 5, I feel good. And it just doesn't seem like, but again, that's why you have to put it aside. put that ego aside and just
Yeah.
do it.
Just a second, right? I turned my camera for a second. Just possibly cut out the corner there because I'm pretty sure they're like probably just doxed myself. I wanted to see if the lighting was better.
Oh yeah, absolutely, will do. And actually, let me check to see.
I heard that. I was like, hold on, what am I doing that way? Like a fucking sign outside with the address or some
Yeah,
shit.
like, oh, let me cover this. The address that says 11677.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
Greenville Avenue. Oh shit.
Yeah. It's like, hey Tim, how come you posted the video and it's just zoomed into the spot that I said to delete?
And written in text.
Yeah.
Fucking subtitles flashing on the screen.
Yeah, with just an auto-tuned song repeating my address. I mean, what is this?
It's that all the 1177 cons for kids all over again.
Yeah.
Shit.
Sweet, man. All right, well, I think we killed it.
Yeah.
I want to do just a little outro just real quick so we can get, just to cap it off. Yeah, this has been absolutely fun, man. I really appreciate you taking out the time to sit here and banter like this. Anyone that if you're not already, you're probably here to see Chris. If you're not, make sure you go follow him. We'll put it up. It's at Supermorbidbeast. And everyone else that's here, if you haven't checked out my stuff, it's Momentum Mindset Fitness. We'll put it on the screen for everyone. And we just appreciate everyone watching. Any final thoughts there, Chris?
Stay on. I mean, stay soft.
Yeah, stay soft.
Damn, we killed it.
Yeah, dude, it's been 2 hours.
Oh my fucking god.